Hi everyone, I'm going to do a quick video on how you change an oil on one of these old flatheads. It's the standard 450, same as the 375 Sprint or 35 Classic. They're the 148cc Briggs and Stratton. It is a flathead. That means there ain't no valves in the front and on the side. If you've got one of the overhead valve, OVE, it's a little bit different. It takes a different oil. That takes a 1030 oil. This is old school. This takes a mono 30 grade or SAE 30. That's what she takes. Pretty simple, pretty basic. This is not really how I change my oil. I usually got a big King Chrome half a litre pump to pull these out, or I just tip the whole engine on its side. But I'm going to do a video on how an average person can do this at home in their own garage or and stuff like that. You know, usually you want to change your oil first 5 hours when you first get your mower, or after that. How I like to do it is first 5 hours, then the first 25 hours, and anything after that 50 hours or every season. That's the best way you can do them. It's all in your manual and how to do it. It's pretty basic. So what you want first want to do is start your mower, warm it up like this is preheated, warm it up, and undo your spark plug cap. The reason I say that though is if you get disturbed halfway doing this and you're caught away and you come back and there's no engine oil in it, this thing goes boom, like flying straight fuel in a two-stroke. They go boom. So that's just more of a safety cord in case you're not paying attention and you do it. Alright, what I'm going to do is the basic kit, like something like this. Well, it's something I don't really use being on a farm, but for the average homeowner or civilian, this is what you can use. This is a basic funnel cloth. Oil will hold your oil. You use oil when you take it out, and a dirty old syringe. Okay, first things first, open them up. There's your hold your oil. Syringe and cloth in case you make a mess. I guess you could fly under there if you're gonna make a mess, you know. That's up to you. Syringe. Screw in the thing. Screw that in. And that's your oil sucker in this case. This is to catch it. Pretty simple. These engines take about 20 fluid ounces or 0.59 litres. Just say 600 if you really want to get down technical. Now, I'm not going to use the soft rag because I want to keep it clean for other purposes, but that's so you can wipe stuff down, then you can just bin it. Anyway, I'll tip him to the side for the moment. Place him up there. Smack that mosquito. And there we go. Let's see what we can pull out of this guy. And she's pretty dirty. Let's keep going, let's keep going. Alright, that's the first 1 mils. This is virtually the same as doing an overhead valve engine. I'll do a separate video. I mean, these kits are handy for engines which you can't tip over, like a big slasher and stuff like that. But in this case, I'll have to do I'll do this for the camera. And no, I do not tip them out on the hard stand. Some people do that. I find it very irresponsible because it all goes in the ground. You should never tip it out onto anything unless you've got a tray there to catch it. That's it. I've only got the first 200 mils of oil in there. That's a third of the engine. It should be. You should really do this for the first 5 hours. You do it pretty much straight away. That's what I do it, because it gets all the metal filings out these engines. You know, any engine you should do that straight away. You know, I look at these new just at oil ones and how they get away with that. I've got one over there which is blown up for that particular reason. Well, actually, it's not a particular reason why it blew up. It had got fuel in the oil when it killed it. But that's a different story for a different time. Oh, come on, listen, Vic. When you make sure you just pull it off the ground, because they will suck the bottom of the casing. Ooh. I can hear the old man in the background. He's talking to the dogs. He's having a one-man party with the dogs. You know, simple maintenance like this once a year is not bad. You know, you'll see these mowers will last 20 years. Even these cool bores, they'll last 20 years. You look after them, right? You know, then people say, oh, they're 500-hour mowers. That's a lot of mowing. That's, if you average a mowing about 15 minutes for 50 days of the week, and face it, and that's at least once a week, or yeah, once a week for 50 days, because 50 weeks of the year, because no one ever mows every week. At least here in Australia, because we don't get snow. That's 2,000 mows over 20 years. So there was a lot of these still kicking around years ago when people bought them and looked after them reasonably. You know, you always get the people, oh, one's whatever I throw in it. It's been running on the same oil for years. That's just saying I neglect my equipment, then curse it when it dies. It's like buying a fan at bloody Kmart or Walmart, if you like. You know, for $20, 15 years ago, use it non-stop for at least 5 years, fire it in the side of the road and the trash, and go, piece of junk, well, it's done its job. Almost there. I think that's the last of that oil. Get it right in there. Yeah, you don't have to be completely spotless getting this oil out. Some people are real attentive and they'll throw a bit of petrol in there. Don't do that. Especially one of these cool bores. They do not like it. First things first, get rid of the oil straight away. Why, you say? Well, it's very easy to knock it over and have oil everywhere. Got to pay attention. Alright. You can use the funnel if you had if you wanted, you can use the funnel if you had a little cup to fill it in. I'm not. I'm going to show you something which people will, oh, you get dirty oil with the clean oil. But it doesn't really matter. You know, it's 50 mil at the best. It doesn't make a difference. You know, I heard people whinging go, it means bugger all. Got an ant crawling up my arm. Let's pull out 600 mils of SAE 30 monograde. It doesn't have to be quality oil, it just has to be new oil. You know, low quality new oil is better than oil that's done 50 hours in one of these, because don't forget, these do a lot more oil RPMs than your car. Okay, that's the first 100 mil. It's just the most simplest way to not making a mess, you know. Everybody does their things different, so people just tip it in, make a mess, and go, oh yeah, that works. I'm no different. I use a big like the old glass bottle oil bottles usually. I know that holds a litre or 600 mils. But in this case, because this is not for me, I'll do it the way they say on the box. Now you can just guesstimate if you like, but doesn't really matter. End of the day, see the massive mess I'm making? There is none. Just doing this basic oil change. Heck, if you can do it once every 2 years, these motors will run forever. You know, the time you wear one of these out, the deck's usually weared out in these engines. As long as you don't leave fuel in it overnight, or sorry, over the holidays, or a couple of months, they last pretty alright. Let's see, that's the second one. That's 200 mils. And I might just pause this so you don't have to see me do all 300, all 600 mils. Hang on. Alright, back again. So I put the oil in it. I think I'm up to 500 mils or so. Just double checking the oil. Just do a quick pull over just to turn the oil around. Yeah, I've got me 600. And how you really get to check these, Briggs and Stratton, is you screw them all the way down and you check, you know, that's how you meant to check them. Hondas you just take off and tap. I've got my oil, I'm on the bar, actually a little bit over, but it's not really critical, as long as it's not, you know, halfway up the stick, you know. And it's got to go around and mix everything, you know, it hasn't spread out everywhere yet. Let's get the lid back on. My hands. Wipe the engine down a bit. Wipe it down. Pull out this thing. Come on. Put it back in there. These systems are pretty much disposable because I don't know how this lot. It might hold up in the cupboard. If it holds a year, it does the job. But you know, you buy this kit, so this was like $9 at Aldi, so not really expensive, you know, compared to most things. Let's give it a test run. Don't forget to, when you get rid of your oil, take it to the right places. Don't just chuck it in a bin. Usually, most mechanic shops will get rid of it. You know, a little bit of oil. You go in and go. Get back on that. You walk to the mechanic shop and you go, I've got 600 mils of oil. Go chuck it in your oil bin and go, here, have a beer. They'll happily let you do it, you know. It's bugger all to them, you know, saves you have to drive anywhere to get rid of it. You know, don't just chuck this in the bin, because it is illegal here in Australia to chuck oil in your bin, other than cooking oil. Or I just keep it on fire for, you know, my old car oil. If you've got a car that burns oil or drops oil a lot, just chuck it in your car, you know. If you've got a car that burns oil, like an old Cummings or something like that, or an old Holden, bit of 30 mono weight mixed into the 2050 ain't gonna hurt it. It's a lot easier if you had a cup to do this, you know, you had a measure, like a cheap measuring cup, or what, but you know what's for 600 mils, you just use the funnel and just tip it in, you know. I use the funnel, I use the syringe because I had it here, you know. Usually I've got like a 600 ml bottle, but I had to get the big one tonight. Alright, let me get off my knees. Let me show my age. I'm 30. I mean, these are fucking. Ooh. 15 minutes on my knees. Actually, longer than 15 minutes. Ooh, that's fun. Take these horrible gloves off. Eat them. Put your spark plug doodacker back on. Beautiful. Let me just change her up. Wee. There you go. Easy as pie. Just doing the basic oil change on your Briggs and Stratton, which will last for years. Heck, I had one last for years back when I was living back in suburbia, and that used to get flogged, and I'm not going to put any oil in that. And these are pretty robust engines. People say they run on anything. You just take the time, do the service, you have it for years. I know an old boy who had one of these on alloy base. He's had it for nearly 30 plus, maybe 35 years, and it still starts and pulls over. It's a bit worn out now because it's done over 500 hours. It's done about 750 hours, but she still starts and runs, and it takes a bit more starting out, pre-primer and all that jazz. He's running like a 40 weight oil in it just to boost his compression up. But I had a look in its bore, the bore camera the other day, and he's only ever run premium fuel through it, and it's spotless. It's lasted that long. I've seen Chinese lawnmowers chucked on the side of the road, and these old boogies just keep on ticking. Some people hate them, some people love them. It usually depends on how you treat it and what it's for. Basic suburban backyard, these things will last for years, especially if we change the oil on it. People say, I'll just buy another lawnmower in 5 years or 2 years time. Buy one of these lawnmowers here is about $400 here in Australia. Well, no, these are more. These are about $500 here when these came out. Reasonable deck. I like the American mowers. We got, you might not see it, but we got big discs on the bottom of ours. That's how ours are set up. So a little bit more expensive than the American model, but these things last for years unless you do something stupid with them.